Ethan Parker pushed his delivery bike through the parking lot as the rain fell harder, soaking his jacket and dripping down his neck. It had been another exhausting day of double shifts, but he couldn't afford to slow down. His 6-year-old daughter Lily was waiting at home with the neighbor, and dinner still needed to be made. He checked the time, nearly 9 p.m. and sighed. He wished he could give Lily a quieter, easier life, but for now this was the best he could do. When the last order came through on his phone marked urgent, he almost rejected it, but the bonus was good, and every extra dollar mattered, so he grabbed the insulated bag and kicked his bike back to life. The address led him to the tallest tower in the city, a place Ethan had only seen in magazines. The lobby alone looked like a palace, glowing with marble floors and golden lights. For a moment, he felt out of place, dripping wet and tired, but he reminded himself he was only here to deliver a package. The elevator ride to the penthouse felt endless, and his heartbeat picked up the higher he went. At the very top floor, the doors opened silently, revealing a hallway richer than some houses. Ethan knocked softly, then more firmly. The door swung open. Standing there was a tall man with sharp features and cold, commanding eyes. Adrian Wolf, the billionaire CEO everyone in the city knew by name. Ethan instantly straightened. Adrian didn't look up from his phone when he spoke. "Please, just make it fast." His tone was clipped, annoyed, as if Ethan's presence was an inconvenience. Ethan pulled off his cap out of respect and held out the package, but when Adrian finally looked at him, his eyes lingered, narrowing slightly. Ethan felt a strange pull of recognition too, but he pushed it away. Rich men like Adrian had no reason to remember someone like him. Inside his pocket, Ethan's phone buzzed with a voice message. He hesitated, but the name flashing on the screen made him smile softly. It was Lily. "Daddy, I miss you. Come home soon. I saved you a cookie," her tiny voice said. Adrian's head lifted at that, just a flicker, but enough to break through his icy exterior. In that brief moment, something unspoken passed between them, a connection neither expected. Ethan didn't know it yet, but tonight would change everything. Adrian's gaze lingered a moment longer than expected, as if the sound of Lily's voice from Ethan's phone had stirred something buried deep beneath his cold, controlled exterior. Ethan quickly slipped the phone back into his pocket, embarrassed. He hated the idea of seeming unprofessional, especially in front of a man like Adrian Wolf. But instead of dismissing him, Adrian stepped aside and said, "You're drenched. Come in for a moment." His voice was softer now, almost reluctant. Ethan hesitated, unsure if stepping into a billionaire's penthouse was even allowed, but the warmth drifting out from inside was too tempting after hours in the rain. He stepped in carefully. The place was enormous, sleek, and silent, with city lights stretching endlessly below the glass walls. Adrian set his phone down and poured 2 glasses of water, though he didn't say why he was suddenly being kind. Ethan accepted the glass quietly, aware of the way Adrian kept glancing at him as if trying to place him. "You have a daughter," Adrian finally said, not as a question but as an observation. Ethan nodded and felt his tired smile return. "Yeah, Lily. She's 6, smart, stubborn and much braver than her dad." The pride in his voice softened the sharp edges of the long day. Adrian's expression shifted just slightly, something unguarded flickering across his features. He asked, "Her mother?" Ethan's shoulders stiffened, and he looked down into his glass. "She passed away when Lily was a baby. My sister helped raise her for a few years, but she disappeared too. Life's been complicated." At the mention of his sister, Ethan felt a familiar ache. Grace had always been his strength, his best friend, the one who believed in him even when he couldn't believe in himself. She had left suddenly years ago, breaking contact with everyone. Ethan had never understood why, and it still haunted him. Adrian's jaw tensed at the name Grace, but he said nothing. He moved across the room and picked up a framed photo from a shelf, a picture of a woman Ethan recognized instantly. Grace, his Grace, standing next to Adrian. Ethan's breath caught. His heartbeat roared in his ears. Adrian held the picture tightly, almost protectively. "You said your sister's name is Grace Parker?" he asked, his voice low and shaken. Ethan nodded slowly, dread rising in his chest. Adrian exhaled sharply, his eyes suddenly full of questions, fear and something deeper. The room felt smaller, charged, as if the truth they were approaching could crack open both their worlds. Ethan's throat tightened as he stared at the photograph in Adrian's hand. Seeing Grace there, smiling, alive, standing beside the same man who now looked at him with shock, made his knees weaken. Memories rushed through him like a storm. Grace laughing in their small kitchen. Grace protecting him from everything. Grace disappearing without a goodbye. She had carried so many secrets, and now, staring at this photo, Ethan realized Adrian held some of them too. Adrian set the frame down carefully, as if touching it hurt. His voice came out strained. Grace didn't just vanish. She left because she was pregnant. Ethan's heart thudded painfully. He swallowed hard, anger and confusion blending into one sharp ache. Pregnant? She never told me. Adrian looked away, jaw clenched. She didn't tell me either, not until the day she walked out. She said she couldn't raise a child in the chaos around me. She thought I would choose my career over her and the baby. Ethan stepped back, trying to breathe. The room spun slightly. Lily's face appeared in his mind, bright eyes, tender smile, the tiny dimple she shared with Grace. He remembered the night Grace had left Lily in his arms, barely a few months old, whispering only that she needed time, and that Ethan would keep Lily safe. She never returned afterward. He had assumed she was running from someone dangerous. He never imagined she was running from the man standing before him. Adrian approached slowly, studying Ethan's expression with a quiet desperation. "Ethan, your daughter. Lily, is she Grace's child?" Ethan forced himself to speak, though his voice shook. "Yes, Grace left Lily with me. She said she couldn't give her the life she deserved. She asked me to raise her." He tried to steady himself, but the weight of the truth was crushing. "I always wondered about her father, but Grace never said a word." Adrian closed his eyes, and for the first time, Ethan saw something human in him. Grief, regret, longing. "Ethan," Adrian whispered, "Lily, she's my daughter too." The words broke the air like glass. Ethan's breath froze in his chest. Adrian's eyes begged for confirmation he wasn't ready to give. Ethan wanted to deny it, to protect Lily, to protect himself. But the resemblance, the timing, the photo, everything aligned. Silence fell between them, thick and fragile, and in that silence, everything changed. Ethan didn't move at first. He stood completely still, staring at Adrian as if the world had tilted beneath him. The billionaire CEO, cold, feared, untouchable, looked nothing like the man he'd seen in newspapers. Now he seemed fragile, almost broken, as if saying the truth aloud had cracked something deep inside him. Ethan rubbed a hand over his face, trying to process the storm of emotions crashing inside him. Anger, shock, confusion, and somewhere beneath all that, a quiet, aching sadness for Grace. Adrian stepped closer, his voice low but firm. "Ethan, I didn't know. If I had known, if she had told me, I would have searched for her. I would have searched for the baby. I lost her without understanding why, and now I realize, I also lost my daughter." His voice wavered. "Barely. Please, let me see her." Ethan's protective instinct rose instantly. Lily was his whole world. He had raised her through sleepless nights, and long work shifts, through hinchants and birthdays, and school projects. He had been both father and mother. He didn't know if Adrian's sudden claim was fair, but he also remembered Grace, the pain in her eyes the week before she disappeared, the way she whispered Lily's name like a prayer. Maybe she had wanted this moment someday. Maybe she had hoped the truth would find them eventually. Ethan finally said, "I'll think about it. She's just a child. I need to be sure this won't hurt her." Adrian nodded, accepting the boundary without argument. "Anything you decide," he said quietly. "I'll respect." The next morning, Ethan brought Lily with him to the corporate building. She held his hand tightly, her small boots tapping softly on the marble floors. She swung her arm in excitement, unaware of the weight of the moment. When Adrian stepped out of his office, he froze. Lily looked up at him, her big brown eyes widening. Without hesitation, she took a step forward, drawn by something she didn't understand. Adrian knelt, unsure, afraid, overwhelmed. Lily smiled shyly. "Are you Daddy's friend?" Adrian's breath hitched. I hope so." When she wrapped her tiny arms around his neck, something in him shattered. Tears slipped down his face silently. Ethan watched, his heart heavy but strangely lighter than before. For the first time, he saw not a CEO, not a billionaire, but a father meeting his child. And slowly, a new beginning took shape, tentative, fragile, but full of hope.